The following podcast will contain graphic, disgusting, crass, foul, mature, and immature content. Previously on the Very Good Adventurers team.
I'm Melvin Hardmeat. I am a 227-year-old high elf wizard.
I'm Roscoe Toscobble, a 30-year-old half-elf. I'm an investigator.
There's Klavic Darkseed. I'm a half-orc cleric.
When Aegis Gringold walks into your office, you guys think that it's time, right? It's time where you're really going to hit pay dirt. He's got a job for you. There's a group of goblins that are out there making life rough and fucking with his trade route. So he'd like you to go out and handle this.
Yeah, let's take this job. I like it. I don't even care what we get paid.
Kolvik.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, this is building us up.
Got my pogs, my travel pogs.
Stop! This is a robbery!
No, it's not.
Will you carry me, wizard?
No.
I don't care about that right now. She's gone.
Who's gone?
Desire, she's gone.
Her name's Desire.
Her name is Desire.
I know the name from the brothels.
So, Aegis Gringold, the lord essentially of this town, came to you guys and offered you a job to go clear out some goblins. You went and cleared out those goblins. Nice work.
Hooray.
Hooray.
We're very good.
Does Hardmeat have any sort of arch nemesis in Pogs?
We may find out very soon. Roscoe, you do know who this is, and in fact, Melvin, you know who Desire is as well. Both of you are familiar with Desire's performances at a seedy bar called the Broken Egg. So, Anden itself, there is the upper city where normal trade and all the rest of the things in the town happen. There are a couple of bars and taverns and inns in the upper city, but there's also the undercity, which is like the aqueducts, the sewage system. It's how the city, kind of stays clean and nice, etc. The undercity is maintained by a clan of indeterminate size of kobolds. There are, just nobody's ever been able to count them. They've been digging tunnels and other crap down beneath the city for as long as the city's been around. And there's sort of a criminal element to that group. And that's focused primarily in this tavern, this underground bar that you might want to say is the home of that gang, I guess. There are two things in the tavern of interest to the two of you, one of which is a larger selection of liquor and whores, which is very appealing to Roscoe Toscobble. And there's also the secret back room where all the illegal gambling of the city happens. And that's where you might find, for example, a high-stakes Pogs game. And when I say high stakes, I mean high stakes.
High stakes pogs.
Yep. So the two of you have been to the Broken Egg before. You're very familiar with its denizens and what have you. And you're familiar with especially back in the gambling room, that's where there's a large raised platform in the center, and that's where the strippers/prostitutes are on display. So you have seen this tiefling named Desire before. So a tiefling is someone with demonic ancestry. Desire herself is, she's fairly tall. She's got long, I should look this up before I fuck it up. She has dark red skin. She has very thick purple hair. It's almost black. Her eyes are just gold, flat across. There's no pupil or iris or anything like that. It's just gold in when she opens her eyes.
I'm sure I can bone her.
She has never done official prostitution before. She's just been a dancer, but she is a very popular dancer. In particular, all of the kobolds really love Desire. So you know of her, you've seen her before. Oh, and by the way, she has ivory horns as well that stick up out of her. Almost straight up out of her head like a, what the fuck are those things called? An ibis or a...
Ibex?
Ibex. Ibex-esque ivory-looking horns that stick up out of her dark hair.
Does that change how you feel about her there, Roscoe?
No, those eyes, man.
You can get past the horns.
You get past the horns.
I feel like the horns would be like you'd want to grab on kind of thing, but
Yeah.
the eyes would mess you up if it was just gold straight across in there.
That'd be freaky. Like they're completely gold. There's no pupils or anything.
Just close your eyes. Just don't open. What are these glasses?
Yeah. Put on these sunglasses that haven't been invented yet. No, they have sunglasses in this world. So yeah, the two of you are familiar with Desire, and Kolvik, you seem to have led a relatively pure life up to this point, so you probably aren't too familiar with the seedy underworld. You're familiar with these guys being down there. I don't know. Do you think you've ever gone along, or do you think you guys have ever like forced them to go with you on a trip so far?
No, I'm not really into forcing anybody.
No.
You're into forcing people out through their asshole. Just
That was an accident. That was not my intention.
We think he's a little stupid and naive, but we're not going to force him to look.
Yeah. We don't want to, we don't want to poison his little mind with the seedy underbelly of the city.
I really had nothing to do with lifting or making shakes. I was never really a part of that business.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not sure why my clients would really care for that, but maybe they will. Maybe I'll find something cool. We'll see.
He's too innocent. We don't want to be responsible for him losing his innocence.
Yeah.
Poisoning his pure mind. I don't know. So you guys essentially had this little flashback montage moment when he started talking about Desire. So you know who this person is. You've never really talked to her or communicated, but you know who it is. And he goes on to explain that he hasn't seen her in a couple of days. He doesn't want to be the one that goes out to look for her because, well, you're getting the impression from what he's saying here that, well, his interest in her is not strictly platonic, and Aegis has a wife and a family. He wants you to go out and figure out where she is. He explains that what he wants you to do is, once you've found her, to bring her back here to your office and then send for him.
Oh, okay. So,
Are like these half-breeds allowed to walk in the upper city?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's common enough to have. I mean, you guys have a half orc and a half elf in
That's fair enough. Yeah.
It would be... People are mistrustful of tieflings in this world because they do have demonic ancestry, and people are suspicious of things that they don't know or understand. And, by and large, tieflings do tend to stray a little bit on the evil side, but Desire specifically doesn't. She's just a regular person.
So is Aegis still in the room at this point? I mean, are we still having a conversation with him?
You guys are having a conversation. You haven't officially accepted the job or anything yet, so
Okay.
You can talk amongst yourselves, or you can say take it and excuse him. How would you like to proceed?
We don't even know does he have any idea who took Desire?
He doesn't think that she was necessarily taken, but he doesn't know.
Gone.
He says that he doesn't know where she's gone, but he does know that she's performed in the past with this guy, this kid Rod, over at the Hugging Squirrels, which is one of the more well-known taverns in town. And he also knows that she has an aunt that she lived with and maybe still lives with, named Kendra Weatherby, in fact, and gives you the addresses of those two places. Says that'd be a good place to start looking.
Did he pay us for a prior job?
Yeah.
which was 15 gold pieces.
Each. And you can tell he's pretty worked up about this. He offers you guys 100 gold apiece to find her and to bring her back here.
Well, we can't turn that down.
No.
So we'll take the job.
Just imagine how many pogs I can get with that.
Let's, we should probably go, should we stake out, like, the aunt she stays with? Or should we stake out the bar, or what do you think?
We could split up.
I think. Well, I'm gonna try to get like almost a semicircle or triangle going on here, and ask him why does he want us to bring her here? Just trying to be a little thoughtful of the method of bringing him back. I mean, it's kind of weird that he wants her to come back here and not to any other location.
Yeah, that's kind of unusual.
Like,
So he looks at you and he says, "So what do you think? You want me to have you bring her home to my wife?"
Yeah, what's the alternative there?
Whatever.
We're an adventuring squad here. He's paying for some discretion, so
You're not at all worried about this half demon getting into your pogs?
I'm not worried about that. That's let's not talk about my pog collection, all right? It's behind locked doors.
All right, we can bring her back to the shop.
all right. Well, I'm just gonna look around, a little uneasy, but obviously upset. I mean, accept it just because it's not my crew, so I'm just here for an adventure.
All right, so
The wizard wants, the wizard gets.
we'll see what we can do. Any other information that you might have that might help us?
Well, check with the boy and check with the aunt. I don't really know where else she frequents. I hear rumors about that club underground. I guess she performs there once in a while. You could try there too.
All right.
Which boy do we need to check with?
The name was Rod at the Hugging Squirrels.
Rod. Hugging squirrels.
Rod at the hugging squirrels.
All right. 100 gold for the job. Yeah, we're totally doing this. That is a
Where does this Kendra live? Does she live below ground, like the Undercity?
She lives above ground near the market, so not terribly far from where you guys are. I don't have a good map fleshed out for you guys yet, but essentially there's a west bank to this river and an east bank to this river town, essentially, and you guys live in the western side of it, which is sort of the poorer district. The main market for the town is on that side. Also, the Hugging Squirrels, which is the more commoners tavern and inn, is on that side. And then Aegis and the richer folk live on the east side of the river. So she is on the west side of the river, near the market, near where you are.
All right, fellas, what do you think? I think we go to the Hugging Squirrels Tavern.
Let's go hunt some squirrels.
Like, even if this Rod has nothing to offer, taverns are a good place to pick up info.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to this tavern.
And so
You know, there's people susceptible to bribery at taverns. How about this, though? Half in advance for this job.
he is not agreeable to half in advance, but he does agree to 20%.
20%? 20 GP each?
So you guys can he just slaps it down on the table and gives you all a curt nod and walks out the door from there to leave you to your adventuring.
I'm just thinking we're going to need maybe a little cash on hand to do some bribing or anything like that.
We don't need to stop at a store for
Right.
anything, do we? Not at this point.
Good to have a little folding money.
Yeah, walking around money. All right, off we go.
You guys make your way to the Hugging Squirrels. The Hugging Squirrels is a fairly active tavern, so we haven't gone into too much detail on the town of Anden yet, but there are two main things, three really, that this town is popular for. It's on the center of a T intersection. To the east of where you guys are is the capital, and this is the main trading road that goes to the capital city of Kingsbury. A lot of travelers come through here. Most of what this town is known for is tourism, essentially. Not tourism necessarily in the way that we think of it. It's not like there's a sculpture garden or anything, but it's just a lot of people pass through this way. A lot of people stay at the Hugging Squirrels. Most of what this town is known for is their booze, which is the... Give me a second, I gotta find what I remember what the fuck I named it.
Rod stays at this tavern. What's his deal?
Yeah,
He's been known to be seen around the Hugging Squirrels.
He dances?
He danced with Desire here.
He's actually a musician, a lute player.
Does he have a room here?
I don't know.
Yes. So the main product of the town, by the way, is called Anden Sweetwater Brandy, which is a sweet booze made from the apples and honey that are famous in this region. It's also known for flowers because there's a lot of bees and a lot of honey, so the town always has a sweet, flowery, boozy smell to it.
Gross.
A little bit, but you guys can't smell it anymore. You've been living here long enough. But so it's about midday at this point. You guys enter the Hugging Squirrels, go up to the bartender and ask where you can find Rod, and Rod points up to the stage where there's a young half-elf playing the lute. He's kind of plinking away at this thing. It's not really the busy time of day, and you're going to go chat with him directly. You want to get beverages?
I think I should sneak up to his room while he's on stage.
Should we distract him while you're doing that?
Do we really need to distract him? He's already up on stage playing something. Why don't you guys have a drink and I go look around? One of you can keep lookout for me.
You also probably wouldn't necessarily know which room is his.
Oh, that's
it is
true
an
enough.
inn, and it's a pretty big building. A lot of people come through and stay here.
That's fair. I wonder if we could bribe the barkeep.
Yeah. Hey, barkeep, is that a lute player? Does he stay here?
So the bartender is a human woman, about 36 years old, and she kind of gives you a weird look, and she says, "Yeah, why do you want to know?"
And I take one gold piece and I slide it to her and I say, because I do.
She reaches a finger over and slides the gold piece off the bar and says, "I already told you he does live here."
Would you mind telling us which room?
She looks at you pretty suspiciously, and what I'm going to have you do is make a... Let's see, what is the...
Melvin Hard made of the three of us.
Melvin, since he's the one out front talking. Do you want to make... Let me make a persuasion check. You're trying to convince her to give up some information.
Persuasion, eh? That is 18 plus some other things, which would bring us to a total sum value of approximately very close to
You having trouble finding that on your character
17.
sheet? So with 17, she kind of eyeballs the gold and gives you a nod and describes where his room is up on the second floor. It's down at the end of the hallway on the left.
Perfect. Roscoe, did you get that?
Down the hallway on the left.
Yeah, perfect.
Are you just doing that right in front of her?
You're slowly backing away down the hallway and to the left.
I'm back into some shrubs.
And you disappear.
I'm gonna discreetly ask. So, where's the bathroom around these joints?
Bathrooms are, she points off to the side of the bar where the bathrooms are.
All right, that is good to know where the bathrooms are.
Do you give her a gold piece and you're like, do you have bathrooms?
No, I sit and I say, all right, thank you. And then I order a drink from the girl. So Roscoe, looking at Roscoe and kind of winking at him, you have an excuse.
And I sneak away.
All right. What kind of a drink are you going to order?
I'm going to order the town special.
The town special. Some Anden Sweetwater brandy.
Sweetwater brandy.
I don't come to town often, so I always like to get the luxury of what the town has to offer.
You know you do live in the town, right?
Out the outskirts of town.
Well, if you're living with them, you're living in town.
Well, now I am.
Yeah, there you go. Melvin, you getting a drink?
Melvin doesn't really drink alcohol, so he'll just have an apple juice.
Melvin gets an apple juice. Roscoe fades away into the bushes, which for some reason are inside of this bar.
Inside bushes.
I'm going to have you... Let's break this into the 2 sessions. Let's go with Roscoe going upstairs first. You're going to make your way upstairs, and you're going to try and sneak into his room.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do a straight roll to see. All right. That hallway is pretty packed upstairs. There are a fair number of people walking back and forth. So if you want to stealthily try and make your way down to the end of this hallway, I'm going to have you make a stealth check.
With which dice? The 20?
Yep. 20, and I'll have you make a Stealth check, so D20 and then +6, which is your stealth modifier.
I rolled a 3 for a total of 9.
All right, so I'm going to have you also make then a perception check. Your perception is a +0.
I rolled a 18.
All right, so you are not sneaky at all, and you are very aware that people are watching you and can see you at this point. Do you want to wait it out, go back downstairs, try again later, or do you just want to like go kick the door in?
Well,
Create a diversion of some kind.
how,
Maybe by farting in the hall.
do these people belong up there? Will they know that it's not me going into my room?
These are travelers. It's not anybody you recognize. You can tell that these are all people from out of town. They're probably going to get a little suspicious if you go and try and pick the lock on the door,
Sure.
but you also don't know if it's locked or not. So most likely no one would take a second look to you going and trying a door handle. I don't think anybody's going to know that it's not there, that it's not your room.
Yeah, I'll go try the door handle.
All right, let's see. The door is unlocked.
Yeah. So I slip in.
All right.
I'm taking a look around.
Like you own the place, you walk in. You find yourself in a relatively small room. This room is probably 8 foot by 10 foot. It's got a bed, it's got a dresser, it's got a couple of instrument cases in it. You can see one lonely looking room, really. It's really nothing special. If you want to rifle through drawers and whatnot, you
Yeah, I'll take a look through his drawers.
get up in his drawers. You find 41 silver, and you find some letters between him and Desire.
Okay.
And about the only useful information you can skim out of that is that they talk about a beach house every now and again, and about going to this beach house and fun times that they had there, but that's about the only useful detail you can recover from
It
it.
doesn't really say where the beach house is.
It says it's by the lake, and you know that there is really only one lake in town. It's sort of the northwest of town, up in a hill, sort of a place where mostly it's rich people's cottages and things like that up there. But there's a poorer section of it. You're guessing that's where this is.
I mean, do those letters give the impression that they're in love, or
I'll have you make a insight check.
Rascal?
8 plus 2 for 10.
Yeah, you can tell that there's some love there. Maybe it feels a little one-sided. Maybe like he loves her a little more than she loves him. But there's love there.
All right. And there's nothing, like it just mentions a cabin on the lake. It doesn't really talk about any trouble that anybody might be in. Or
No, there's nothing else along those lines.
all right. So I'm pocketing the silver. I'm drawing a penis on a sheet of paper and leaving that in there. And I'm going back downstairs.
All right.
That's your calling card? Roscoe is here. just a terribly drawn penis.
Like it looks injured. I was going to say you could have some cards made up, but then people would know.
Nope, just hastily drawn wings.
All right, you leave your hastily drawn wang calling card in the drawer where the silver was. Go back out, close the door, and make your way downstairs. In the meantime, so we're talking about probably 10 minutes worth of time, Melvin and Kolvik, have you spent this time just kind of sitting there?
I'm gonna ask the barkeep, how often does Rod play here? How often is he here?
She explains that Rod plays most of the time. They occasionally have some other acts, or he'll play with other musicians. But so far as About Town goes, he's a fairly talented bard. He's one of the more popular performers, so he plays here most nights.
He's the house flute player. He lives here.
Yep.
I'm gonna look here and ask, does Rod stay here? I'm kidding. How
I was having a moment where I was like, I'm not sure how she's gonna react.
how long has Rod been here?
Rod's been here for about 4 years. He drifted into town. Nobody really knows exactly where he's from, just that he came from elsewhere.
And does the name Desire ring a bell for you at all, or?
She says, yeah, we haven't seen her around here in a little bit. She used to sing with Rod up on the stage, and that's, well, she'll still come back and perform once in a while, but she doesn't really play here that much anymore.
When's the last time you saw her?
Maybe a month ago?
So we're just sitting there enjoying our drinks, making sure Rod stays on stage until Roscoe saunters down.
You guys are like corralling him up on the stage.
Well, I
He's
figured
trying-
he's still
just watching
playing,
and
yeah.
just making sure that he's up there. And
We don't want to interrupt him during his set,
Right.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
People
but
seem
if he
happy.
were to, get done and happen to head upstairs for any reason, we might want to head him off, just ask
Or-
him some questions or
yeah,
whatever.
off him to a drink, say, "Hey, get over here."
He's up there. You can tell that he's not really performing specifically. We're getting to be early afternoon time. It's not a big crowd time. So he's just up there noodling around, practicing before the set sort of thing.
All right. So I'm back downstairs. I've come back downstairs.
Giving us the deets, telling us
Mhm.
within earshot. Not so the bartender's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I
Yeah.
don't tell
Hey,
you that I found money.
yeah, you don't come down and be like, well,
I found.
I tell you about the letters, though.
Roscoe, are you pretty persuasive?
Yes.
Since I'm not terribly persuasive, maybe you should go and...
I will go ask her out if we can have a word.
so you walk up to the stage. He sees you coming, kind of gives you a nod. And as you get up to the edge of it, he stops playing and says, "You got a request?"
No. Actually, well, kind of. Can you come over to the bar? I'll buy you a drink and can talk about a couple things.
Gives you a sort of a questioning look, but says, "Well, all right."
All right.
You guys want to take a table in the bar?
Yeah.
It's a pretty large bar room. There's quite a few tables. The stage sitting on one side of it, the bar kind of running along the long edge.
Yeah, maybe we'll probably take a table.
You pull a table. What are you going to get to drink?
The town drink, the brandy. Sweetwater brandy.
Yeah, and Sweetwater brandy. Hoping somebody makes a t-shirt out of that at some point. So you sit down, beverages all around, apple juice for Melvin because he's got a weird thing about drinking for some reason. Some mysterious reason.
Goddamn Puritan.
And he takes a sip of his beverage and says, "Thanks for the drink. What can I do for you, stranger?"
Well, we're investigators and adventurers here, and we got a client that's a little worried about Desire, and word is you guys sing together from time to time.
He perks up at the name immediately and he says, "Have you seen her?"
No, we have not. We are actually looking for her. Do you know when was the last time you saw her?
He said, "I haven't seen her in a couple of days. Usually I see her at least every 2 or 3 days, and it's been about 5 since I've seen her. I don't really know where she is. Who hired you?"
I don't know if I'm prepared to say. She didn't mention any trouble or say she was going anywhere, did she?
She didn't say she was going to go anywhere, and she's always hated this town and been real cagey about wanting to get out of here, but no more lately than usual.
Ask her about their relationship.
What kind of relationship would you say you guys had?
I'll have you make a persuasion check.
I rolled a 5 plus 6 is 11.
He clams up just a little bit, and he says, "We've known each other for a while now. We performed together here, and I'm not sure why you're asking me."
Well, I've known people for a while too. Some of them I fuck, and some of them I don't. Which of those relationships would you say you have?
He says, "I'm not really sure that's any of your business."
I'm just trying to get the lay of the land here. I'm trying to find your friend. You want your friend back, yeah?
So he says, yeah, I really do. I am a little nervous about her. We're more than friends. We've been more than friends. Well, our relationship has been, it's been a little different for about the last 6 months. The reason that I ask who hired you is I know she's sleeping with that old man, and it bothers me, but I just, I am who I am and he is who he is, and I guess sometimes you just got to accept things in life, but I still see her every once in a while, and I still love her. If you find anything, you'll let me know, won't you?
Yes, of course. If she was to be hiding out anywhere, do you know where she might hide out?
I'll have you make one more persuasion check.
Rolled a 3 plus 6.
Your rolls suck balls.
Yeah, I thought you said you were persuasive.
So
Rolls aren't.
he kind of starts to say something. He says, "Well, you might want to go check with her aunt. I know she stays there sometimes, but yeah, I don't know where she would go. I mean, I've checked in the places that I would know to check."
At this point, I just kind of look at him and say, "Were you saying what was that?" And just try to do a little more of an intimidation. Did you say something just now?
You want to do an intimidation check?
Yeah, just a little bit. What was that? 16.
Darkseid's getting a little aggressive.
So he feels the darkness of the Darkseid for a moment. He's a little threatened. He says, "Yeah, there's a little cottage, a little cabin. I don't know what you'd call it. It's a shack, really, but it's up by the lake. We've gone there a couple times just to practice. I don't know why I'm even lying about it. We've gone up there and spent some time up there.
Ooh, a love shack. Okay.
When was the last time you guys went there?
He says it's been about 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
and he hasn't been back since.
Is there anything else we can get from this guy?
Well, I guess the only thing we can ask him is, do you know anybody who would want to do her harm?
She doesn't have any enemies. There's a lot of people that want her company, but nobody that would want to hurt her that I know of. I mean, the townspeople have always been a little obnoxious towards her, but nobody hates her.
Anybody that's been a little overly lusty towards her or anything of that nature?
Just that gross old man.
Gross old man. This is old balls.
All right. Thanks, Rod. I think we got all we can get from you.
He stands up and walks away from the table and gets about halfway to the stage and turns around and looks at you guys and says, "You'll let me know if you find her, right?"
Yeah, sure.
Joey will.
Totes my goats, bro.
You get the winking at him. He gets back up on stage and starts playing, and so his tune's a little more somber, a little more melancholy now, but he's doing his thing. He's doing his job.
While in the bar and still around, I'm just gonna reiterate that I don't really like this Anden guy. I don't think we should take this girl back if we find her to her place.
Don't like which guy?
Aegis
Aegis?
and his old rusty balls.
So rusty balls.
It'd be silver balls, I think.
Listen, we don't really know what's going on here. We have no idea who's got her, where she's at, but I feel like we either go to the aunt's house or we go to the cottage.
Let's go to the aunt's house while we're in town.
Seems closer. Let's go over to the aunt, Mrs. Weatherby, if I remember correctly.
In fact, you do remember correctly. Kendra Weatherby.
While heading out of the bar, I'm just gonna hand out my business card to people about shakes.
Darkseid shakes.
Darkseid shakes.
About half the people you give the card that says Darkseid Shakes give it like a little squint, but
I mean, I know it's a half more giving you a card. Darkseid shakes.
you got a couple of people that seem interested though.
All right.
Hello there, listeners. This is DM Nick, taking a little break in the action to say hi. Remind you that we've got our website out there at thevgat.com. Again, THEVGAT.com. We'd love it if you'd go check it out. We've got links, of course, to our Patreon and PayPal accounts there. And, of course, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Plumbus. Now, I know all of you probably have a Plumbus, and for the easy price of 6.5 grapples, who wouldn't have one? But I'd like for you to go out and purchase a second one. I have one in literally, maybe even literally, every room of my house. Plumbus, it's the best! We've also got a fan mail letter here from Invalid User 423, who tells us, "Your show is amazing. It is changing my life." You know what, Invalid User, I am so happy to hear that. We're doing everything we can to create an amazing show with fantastic content. So, hey, thanks a lot. Keep listening. We'll see you for the next couple episodes, right? I'm recording this well in advance of the release of the actual podcast, so here's some just random filler comments from the internet. More Nazi clickbait, Mike? I realize you're probably too young to know about Godwin's Law, but it still applies. Amazing story. This is what our communities need to hear. Much love and respect. I wonder if it's no different than any other community other than our community is closer bonded by family and can have the save against this fight. The small town myth exposed. They can be brutal. I didn't know Joey Ramone had a son. He is already doing the weird stuff. 2X Cronenberg and now filming with Claire Dennis. People think it's only a can't pay the rent problem, but it really is more than that. You can find us on Twitter at VGATeam. That's VGATEAM. And since we still don't have any tweets to read, I'm just going to read you some random tweets from a BuzzFeed article. Sorry I yelled, killing it when your mom was eating that banana. I straight up have no idea how porcupines fuck each other. Sick of having to go to 2 different huts to buy pizza and sunglasses. Our scariest president was probably Rushmore because he had 4 heads. Stop telling me your newborn's weight and length. I don't know what to do with that information. Relationships are mostly you apologizing for saying something hilarious. When I was 7, I had a crush on a girl in my class and didn't know how to deal with it, so I wrote her a letter that just said, "Get out of my school." He died doing what he loved, shouting, "Fuck bears," in the forest. Our relationship with ants is weird. Ants are like, "Hey, I only want these crumbs, okay?" And we're like, "No, you motherfucking will not." Hot dogs were invented in 1936 by Larry Hot Dogs when he accidentally dropped a bag of prize-winning pig assholes in his Dick Shaper machine. What idiot named them jet skis instead of motorcycles? And now, back to the podcast. You make your way to the south end of the market where Miss Weatherby lives. Give a knock on the door. After a minute or two, the door opens and it's a human woman. She's about 55. She's got silver streaks through her brown hair. She's got real sharp, hard brown eyes, real stoic. A sturdy woman, you might say.
Sturdy woman.
Mm-hmm. She opens...
Like approaching MILF? Or like a...
This is not... No.
This is more like a...
Let me just...
Like a hard, grizzled woman? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. She's making my wiener soft.
Yep, she's not...
She can wither it with a look.
She has a...
I just look at Roscoe and give him the shoulders up. Huh?
She makes me an innie.
Gives you a turtleneck.
Kendra opens the door and gives the 3 of you a wiener withering look and says, "Can I help you?"
Yes, Kendra. Weatherby, ma'am. We're looking for your niece.
She scowls and looks at you and says, "Why would I know anything about that?"
Well, you guys are family. Are you not close?
She gives you kind of a little bit of a dirty look here, like you can tell that she's displeased at really any mention of Desire's name. She says, "Well, she is my sister's daughter, but guess that means we're family, yes. Why? Why are you looking for her?"
She's gone missing, and we have a couple people interested in finding out where she went.
She kind of scoffs, just, "Well, I'm not surprised. Come in, I suppose." Kind of steps back, opens the door, and offers you the chance to walk in.
Thank you.
Looks around, and there's a little kitchen table, and offers you a seat. She says, "Would you like some tea?"
Yes, please.
I'd love some, thank you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
She puts the kettle on, and she's kind of busying herself about pulling together. You can tell that she's got one teacup that's clean and used frequently, and quite a few others that don't look like they've moved in a long time.
Does she have a teacup holster?
She doesn't have a teacup holster, unfortunately. She's not full-on steampunk. She sets cups in front of all of you, and you have a nice, quiet, awkward couple of minutes while the water heats up. Tea is boiling. She comes and pours a cup for each of you and sits down at the table and says, "I knew this was going to happen eventually. That she's just... bastard child."
What makes you say that?
"Well, she's the reason my sister's dead."
Oh.
How did your sister die?
"Well, they said it was an accident, but I know it was that brat of a child. And then I had to raise her. I had to raise her after my dear beloved sister was gone. It was after that thing came into town and seduced her, and, well, I was left with nothing but the mess to clean up and a child to raise."
What thing are you speaking of?
Well, her.
Yeah, I assume Kendra's sister, bumped some uglies with a demon. Is that how that works?
Demon ugly's gotta be ugly.
Yeah. What do you think it looks like?
Like that wiener knife on 7.
Oh,
Wow.
Man, that
Ooh.
just...
I was thinking more of like a duck corkscrew penis, but if you want to go that route. Dang.
That's terrible.
So...
But that's how this works, right? Like,
Podcast got...
her sister made it with a demon, and that's how Desire came to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the strong impression that you get. Maybe that guy wasn't full-on demon. He may have been a tiefling as well, but that's not a detail that Kendra really has. She just knows that Well, in this town full of merchants and passersby, one person that came through town was this demon or tiefling or whatever. And the impression that you get over hearing this story is that this tiefling, this terrible, terrible, disgusting tiefling seduced her sister, eventually got her knocked up and then skipped town. Years went by of her raising this child on her own, always expecting this dude to come back. And of course he never did. And one day, Desire, or as she was known back then, Sarah Weathersby. Is it Weathersby? Shit, I forgot if it... Weatherby, no S. So one day they found Sarah Weatherby at the bottom of the stairs, and her neck was broken, and the little girl was there crying. And, well, you can tell from the story here that maybe it was an accident, maybe it wasn't, but Kendra is definitely convinced that it was not an accident.
So she thinks Desire pushed her down the stairs?
Yeah. And you guys mentioned that a few times, or you say her name a few times. She says, I wish you would stop calling her that. The name she was given when she was born was Sarah. That silly tiefling tradition of taking on some name of something. It's absurd. Her name is Sarah.
For some reason, I'm trying to be like Roscoe and like writing down information. Just nothing really good or detailed. Is that Sarah with an H? Or an A? Just really say a stupid thing.
You say she's female.
Is that...
When did you last see Sarah?
She came by 2 days ago, and I don't know what she wanted. I don't know why she even came by, but she came by and said that she might be going away for a little while, and that she wanted to say goodbye to me, and that... I don't know. She said a bunch of other silly nonsense. I don't remember what she said, but she said she was going away. She didn't say where to, though.
Did she say why?
No. I assumed it was trouble with some man or something else, like it usually is with her. That half-elf thing that she plays music with at that bar on the other end of town, or I don't know. She probably goes to the Undercity for all I know.
Undercity. Like, what's that?
Oh, you know what the Undercity is. The Undercity is like the sewers. It's where the broken egg is, and those other pieces.
Gotcha.
It's just kind of what the sewers. I mean, the aqueducts, all the rest of that would be known as.
She wouldn't be going away to the Undercity, right? I mean, that's just under the city. If she's going away, you can go to the Undercity like today, right? You can just go there, have fun.
Yeah, there's entrances all over the place.
Right. So she's got to be going to like some other town or place.
Or the cabin on the lake.
Yeah, that's not very far away. I mean, why would she come by and say goodbye and just go to the cabin? It sounds like she came to say like goodbye to her aunt, like she's going away far away for probably an extended period of time.
Yeah. Does Kendra seem reserved to Roscoe since he's a half-elf as well?
She doesn't seem terribly pleased with any of you being here.
Let's
Mrs. Weatherby, does Sarah have a room in the house?
She does have a room there.
Do you mind if we take a look?
No, you might as well. Leads you to the back part of the house, and there's 2 bedrooms back there. One of them, the door's closed. That's fairly clearly Kendra's room. And then there is also another room, a small and kind of dingier room. You rifle through it. You don't really find anything of interest. There's no letters or really anything. It's just kind of like old clothes and a bed that doesn't look like it's been slept in quite some time. If anybody lives here, they're not here regularly.
So is this where Sarah used to live? Because it sounds like she came by and said goodbye to her aunt, but was she living somewhere else?
The aunt doesn't really know where she stayed when she wasn't here, but Desire was raised in this house.
She was staying somewhere else. When Roscoe, when you looked at Rod's room, was there a bed big enough for 2, or was it just like a single person?
A tight squeeze, but 2 people could get in there. I think that's kind of the idea.
Interesting.
All right, I don't think there's anything here for us. I think we need to go to the Undercity. Go to a tavern and ask around.
How far away was this lake house there?
The lake house is going to take you probably half a day to get there.
Yeah, it'd probably be best just stay in the city then.
If it's quick to go to the Undercity. Yeah, let's go to the... Getting late in the day, it's probably an appropriate time to head over to the Broken Egg anyway. So.
It's when business would be kicking up.
Yep.
You make your way to one of several entrances to the Undercity.
What does an entrance to the Undercity look like? Is it just like a
sewer grate?
Sewer grate?
I mean, it's
Ninja
not.
Turtle style.
Yeah.
That would be one way to get in. There are sewer grates and things like that. I mean, this is the septic system of the city. The kobolds that live there, that's primarily their job, is maintaining the septic and the sewage and the water flow throughout the city, the aqueducts.
Sucks to be them.
So you could get down there that way, but there are also normal entrances. An entrance would be something like, it'd be a door within a building, but it's just you open the door and there's just a stairway going down to the cleaner parts. If you think of it, there'd be like, I'm trying to think of how to describe this. There'd be like a space, a living space, for the people that are living down there, and they've got their own shops, businesses, etc. So you could go down like a normal entrance, and there'd be that sort of thing, and then on the other side of it, there'd be the aqueducts and the sewage tunnels, etc. So they've made a full-on city down there. It's just that the product or function of the city is hauling poop.
Is there a rule of law down there?
The law applies down there, but much less tightly than it does above ground. The kobolds maintain their own law, and it's expected that if something really nasty happened, the cops or a group of adventurers, for example, would be able to come down there and check around and investigate. You would be respected as law, but it's not like there's regular beat cops patrolling down there.
Just imagine like a Sin City black and white down there.
Yeah. Got a little bit of that going on to it. It's got a real seedy feel. This is definitely where people go if they're not a 100% law-abiding citizen.
All right.
Let's check out this broken egg.
Mm-hmm.
You make your way down there, and kind of as we had been talking about, Melvin and Roscoe, you've been here before. This is a gambling den, pogs, all the rest of those sorts of fun things can happen down here. Drinking, whoring, those activities are definitely available at the Broken Egg. The Broken Egg is one of the more popular establishments down here. There's one or two other ones, but they're just crappy little hole-in-the-wall places. This is the Undercity destination.
Is this Darkseid's first time down here?
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you ever made it to the Undercity at all before this?
Well, not really. Like I said, no really reason to go down there. Not my clientele, not really my kind of scene. So
Sure.
right now I'm pretty uptight and just kind of.
Maybe there's an untapped market for Darkseid.
That's what we were thinking about. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to keep my head cool in all this persona, but being quiet and being a big tall dude, kind of looking around.
Yeah, this is going to be not necessarily as comfortable for a big, tall dude. Kobolds are relatively short, and they try and build things to humanoid size as much as they can, but these creatures are like 3 to 4 feet tall, so they're not going to make 8-foot ceilings everywhere. So you're hunched a little bit.
Yeah, 6'7", so just kind of.
But it's stonework with torches and lanterns and whatnot hung along the walls. You make your way down to the Broken Egg, where business is just starting to get going for the evening. The main room of the bar is probably 20 foot by 20 foot. The bar itself is along the left side of the room, tables and chairs in the middle. And there's a stage in the far right corner. There is the house band playing. It's a satyr, and 3 halflings are playing away. So they're playing away. The first couple of people coming in for the evening are settling into tables and getting their first drinks going. The establishment also has a door kind of straight across from the entrance that goes back to the back rooms where people participating in services would get those services
serviced.
And if you go back through that, there's another room sort of to the right side of that where the actual gambling happens. So you walk in the bar, you don't see anybody of particular interest, and in particular, you use the word particular a lot.
Particularly
individual. This particular individual.
Yes, sir, as a particular individual. So you walk into the bar and you don't see the owner, a man named Dunk, who you strongly suspect has ties to the criminal underbelly of this world. Nor do you see Solcy, his girlfriend, I guess would be the right word.
Solcy?
These are humans?
These are kobolds.
Okay. So who's tending?
What's that?
Who's bartending?
Let's find out. I don't know why I didn't have a bartender at the ready for this.
We come down here, me and Melvin. We got pretty good relationships with these people.
Yeah.
They give us high fives on the way in.
They have a drink waiting for us by the time we get to the bar.
The music from Cheers starts playing.
Yep.
Roscoe's got his farting chair.
There's the ghost of 1,000 farts in it.
Luckily, you're in the sewers, so nobody can smell your farts. Because everything smells like farts.
They actually welcome the smell of his farts for how bad it smells.
Your farts smell wonderful down there. Everybody are thankful for your farts.
You pull up onto the stool and let one rip, and the bartender says, "Did you have eggs this morning?"
Thank you.
So you recognize the bartender, Vui, V-U-Y. This is Vui Rumble Drifter. She has been... I thought that worked out pretty well. Kind of like when you're farting and it pushes you off the chair. So Vui Rumble Drifter, the bartender here, it's a female kobold. She's got blue scales with little hints of red flecked throughout, and she smiles and gets your favorite drinks ready for the two of you, which is what? What do you guys normally drink when you're down here in the Undercity at the Broken Egg?
Just the ale down here. We don't want to fancy it up with Anden Sweetwater brandy.
Yeah, the Anden Sweetwater is not available in this place. That's for the upper city folks.
What do they have that's non-alcoholic down here?
But you definitely don't want to drink the water.
Nope, that's what I'm thinking.
They keep some apple juice around because they know you like it.
I'm a good customer.
Yeah.
Alright, good.
They have a secret stash of apple juice just for you.
Mm-hmm. She looks to you, Kolvik, and says, "What'll it be for you?"
I'll just say, whatever's on tap tonight.
All right. So she pours 2 of the ales and an apple juice, and she looks to you, Kolvik, and says, "You're a face I haven't seen before. What brings you down here with us?"
Well, I'm just traveling with my adventuring team here, and no, I think you should ask them about the questions. It'd be fine. I'm just looking around and trying not to make any direct contact. Just being kind of shady.
A little nervous about your place down here?
My surroundings. Holding my headless, gutless guy tight.
You're like a suburban 19-year-old visiting the inner city for the first time. Not sure who you can make eye contact with.
Are you cool? Are you cool?
All right, so she puts drinks up on the bar, and you guys pay. It's going to be a silver apiece.
How do you like the smell down here, Darkseid?
I just make a little grumble.
Displeased with the whole environment.
Yeah.
So there you are in the bar. None of the real regulars that you guys are familiar with are out here in the front room, and nothing really going on yet because it is still fairly early in the evening.
Boy, you seen Desire around at all recently?
Well, I haven't seen her in a few days, but I'm sure she'll be back around soon. She was going to perform sometime in the next couple of nights here.
And if she performs, is she performing like out in this public area that we're in right now?
She does a mix of the front room and the back room.
Okay, a little bit of the front and the back.
Little in the front, little in the back.
Gotcha.
Depends on the night, depends on her mood, I'm guessing, you know.
So, how many dancers would you say are, dancing at the Broken Egg? Is this somebody that we're pretty familiar with, or is there somebody that we've noticed has danced here before, or?
It's somebody that you would definitely have noticed. She's definitely the only tiefling that's dancing here. Okay. There is a mix of pretty much all of the other common races are here and available as dancers, and occasionally for other extracurricular services.
Gotcha.
There's probably a total of, let's call it 20. There's definitely some turnover in this field.
Okay. I mean, with 20 dancers,
Tony Danzas?
Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
20 dancers, I'm just thinking that we may be able to recognize her. We've seen her before, but it's just another dancer, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And again, this is somebody that probably would have drawn at least a little bit of attention because it's a tall, red-skinned lady, like
with golden eyes.
With golden eyes and horns. She would have stood out. You would have definitely noticed her, but
and
you've
probably,
never really interacted with her.
And probably knew her name. Like, hey, who's the tiefling? That's Desire.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay.
So, you guys are at the Broken Egg. You got yourself some drinks, and here you be. What would you like to do? As I said, the front room really doesn't have anybody here quite yet. It's still fairly early in the evening. So you see the bartender, you see the band warming up, and a couple of other stragglers that are unimportant nobodies.
Do we know anybody real well here?
You would know of the proprietor of the place, Dunk, that I was talking about earlier. You would have met and talked to him a few times. You probably, Roscoe, know a couple of the ladies of the night that work here, although they tend to not be terribly well-informed people. Melvin, you would know a handful more people because, well, you're kind of hot shit on the local POG circuit, so...
Oh, yeah.
You might know a couple more people in the back, but nobody that's really going to hang out regularly in the front room here.
So we asked the bartender if she doesn't really know a whole lot, so I think it makes sense. We need to ask a few of the other dancers, see what they know. Is there anybody out on stage tonight in the main room?
The main room would just have the band.
So there's no dancing? I thought you said there was a dancing platform out there in the...
That's in the back room.
Does it look like any dancers are out having a drink or anything? Like
Nobody.
off the clock?
Nobody's out having a drink right now. They're all probably sleeping or getting ready for their shifts.
Is there a dancer dressing room?
God, there probably would be, wouldn't there? I didn't think about that.
They
If there would be, I don't know if they'd let you into it.
What? I'm all hot shit, so...
Voya, does Desire have a room here?
She does not have a room here. That much the bartender would have told you had you asked her.
Who would want a room in the sewers?
Not very many people. Probably some kobolds who pretty much all live down here. I don't think very many other people would want a room in the sewers. But yeah, there is a dressing room in the back where the ladies are getting ready.
Well, let's go talk to these ladies.
I'm guessing we're not all gonna run in there. I guess we could.
You could.
Well, seeing how
You guys are fairly well-known regulars, so I imagine that nobody's necessarily pleased that you're going into the ladies' dressing room. Nobody's going to stop you.
I'm not going to go in there. I think I'm just going to kind of chill out in this scene, make sure nothing's really going on here. I don't think I would really know a bad person from a good person, but I'm not the kind of person who'd be going back into dressing rooms if nobody knows me.
Hate to have any titties blow your mind.
Yeah. Oh, boobs. Oh, spare me. So I'm just gonna walk back. I'm not gonna saunter in like I own the place, but I'm just gonna peek my head in. Is there anybody I would know that I would maybe look for that I've known for a while or anything like that?
Yeah, let's say there are two dancers that you know because they dance here the most often, and it's gonna be Mia, who is it's another half elf, and another dancer named Carl, who is a human.
Carla or
straight up Carl? Carl's a dude. Mia's a female half elf. Carl's a male human. Carl Danza. You say?
Carl Danza. Who's the boss? Carl's the boss.
Carl is very much the boss of the ladies at the Broken Egg.
His stage name is Hot Carl.
Everybody knows about Hot Carl.
No cool to say. Hot Carl.
Hot Carl is essentially the madam and chief dancer. And Carl is back there and sees you come in and says, "Hey, I don't know. I can't do Tony Danza off the top of my head.
Nobody can. Except for
What is he?
Danza.
What is? I mean, it's just like an Italian.
Maybe Judith Light can do it.
So, what? Tony, bring you a pizza.
Holy shit! Rumble Drifter over there. So you come back and Carl comes over and greets you and says hello and asks what he can do for you.
So you said this guy's a dancer or a boss?
There's a little bit of both.
Well, he's okay.
Carl's a little past his prime, but he runs the show so he can go out and dance whenever he wants to.
Is he see a lot of lawbreakers out here?
Yeah.
A lot of lawbreakers.
Yeah, and this is there we go. He's what the fuck is his name? Matthew McConaughey.
All right. How you doing?
Let me get my Matthew McConaughey headspace here.
I haven't seen you around these parts.
Drive a Lincoln.
Big. Hey.
Watch me put on my watch while I sell cars.
So you walk back into the dressing room and Carl comes over to you and can I do for you, boss? Not.